And what that means is that if you miss it, you can always go back and catch the recording for this. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So first thing is what will we be doing in class? Well, it's going to be programming. This is an intro to programming class, so we're going to learn programming. Okay, now we've got a million different languages to deal with, or to work with. So what we're going to do is we're going to work with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. I likened it to the mirepoix, which is Cajun. It's a French word meaning onions, celery, and carrots. When you mix them together and saute them, it makes a completely different flavor that is so much better than each of those parts by themselves. So it's, in us, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript each have their own functions, but when you mix them together, you get a much better combination. The sum is greater than the parts. Okay, so that's what we're going to use. Now, what each part is used for is HTML is used for the actual. When you have a web page, the HTML says what's the web page going to look like. That's defined by the HTML. Okay. Does anyone know what HTML stands for? No. And okay. Nope.
No.
Okay, cool. What it stands
it's
for?
hypertext markup.
You got it. Good job. Good job. Was this Daniel?
Yes, sir.
Good job, Daniel. Excellent. How about WWW? Does anyone know what WWW stands for?
World Wide Web.
You got it. You guys are good. How about CSS?
Cascading style sheets.
You got it. Exactly. And what CSS does is that defines the style of our web page. Basically, what kind of fonts you're going to use, what kind of scripts, what kind of background, what kind of colors, things like that. That's all defined by CSS. Okay. A menu. Can you mute yourself? You're kind of cycling back on me. Thanks. Perfect. Okay. And then finally, JavaScript. Now, what JavaScript is that's our backend. That's where all the cool stuff happens. We use if statements, we use loops, we can use all sorts of things in JavaScript to get our web page to behave the way we want. Okay, so JavaScript is kind of where the backend happens, where all the cool stuff happens. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to produce a UAT space page. We have the data from summer 2019. What they did is they lifted a payload 100,000 feet, and they have data from that payload. They have the accelerometer data, the gyroscope data, the temperature, the non-volatile organic compounds. They have all sorts of things like that. They have data, and what we're going to do is we're going to create a web page that displays this data and updates it at every 5 seconds. So it's a pretty interesting page. Once we create the web page, then we're going to convert it into a PWA, which is a progressive web app, which will convert it from a web page to an application that you can run on a cell phone, or you can run on a computer, or you can run it anywhere using a PWA. Okay, so that's done by UAT Space. UAT Space is a space project. That's one of our production studio projects. And basically, about every 4 months they lift a payload up into space, up 100,000 feet. Okay. Oh, this is the wrong one. I have the on ground. Let me do the online. Okay. Okay. So if you need to get a hold of me, the best way to do it is mprater@uat.edu. That's the best way to do it. I always have my email on. I always check it. It comes to my cell phone. The other way to do it is in Teams. If you want to chat with me in Teams, if you ever see me green, I'm going to respond immediately. If you look, I've got a little circle next to my name. It's red right now, so that means I'm busy. But if it's green, it means I'm available, and I'll definitely chat with you if you send me a chat. If we need to do a call, we can do a call later, but a chat's the best way to do it. So those are the two best ways to do it. You can do Canvas, but I'm slower to respond to Canvas because I'm not always in Canvas, where I am always on my UAT email and I'm always in Teams. Okay, so those are the two best ways to do it, and those all always get a hold of me. Okay, and we're usually pretty good with that. All right, so that's the. Does anyone have any questions so far? And if you do, feel free to write them in the chat. And if you have questions anywhere, just send it in the chat to this class or meeting chat, and I'll definitely respond. I'm paying attention to that. That's on my right hand screen. I have a 3-screen setup, so it's on my right hand screen. Okay. So let me find my mouse here. I don't know where my mouse is. Hi, there it is. Okay. So now let's talk about what's due. Like I said before, what does CSS stand for? It stands for Cascading Style Sheets. Absolutely. And basically, it sets the style for your web page. Okay. Now, what's due? Well, we got a lot of stuff due. We have an introductory survey. It's very important. It's due tomorrow, September 9th. Basically, it's 2 questions about the class, about your upcoming class. We have student introductions. That's due today. We have a discussion week 1 class video. Basically, I'll go into that when I show you it. I'll go into that. We have assignment document tags. That's due September 10th. Mission control, we have blast off assignment due the 13th, and an assignment building blocks for your space functions. It's also due the 13th. Now we have all these assignments, but there's a better way to find them. Okay. If you go to your dashboard of Canvas, and you go to calendar, we've got these different things. Like here, you can use class, like this is your class that I have. We've already had 10 people do the discussions. That's fantastic. Good job, guys. If you ever want to know what assignments are due, just go into go into calendar and make sure that our class is lit. Right now, it's only showing the CSC102 D20Sep04. Okay, so basically, it's going to show all the assignments that are due for your class. Now, if you click on it, it'll show you. It'll give you a brief description, and if you click on it, it'll actually take you to that site. It'll take you to that point in Canvas. Okay. Now, for the student introductions, very important, respond to 2 other students' posts. Okay, so not only answer your questions, but respond to 2 other people's questions. Like if someone says, hey, I play the guitar, you could be like, hey, that's cool, I play the drums, or something like that. It's just responding to 2 students' posts. So that is due September 8th. The survey is due tomorrow. And then this launching your UAT space and document tags, that's due on Thursday. We'll be going over this today. Okay, so we'll give you everything you need to do this today. We also have a discussion on Friday, week 1 class video. Now, what we need for that is you can do it one of 2 ways. Either A, you show up to one of the classes this week, which you guys are already here. So you've done this assignment. You show up to the class, and all you do is respond to this discussion saying, I attended class on September 8th, 2020. And as long as you post that, you'll get full credit for it because you were here. So for those who will catch this on the recording, you can either show up to Thursday's class, or if you don't show up to today's or Thursday's class, you list your notes, you post your notes, okay? And we'd like to see 500 word post, okay? So basically 500 words on notes for the class. And what this does is not only does it mean that you're doing your notes, you also get to see other people's notes. So basically you just need to post a 500 word note about today and Thursday's class. Or if you attend the class, then you don't need to do that, okay? So for those who are here, you don't need to do it. You just need to post saying, hey, I was here on September 8th. Or if you do it Thursday, I was here on September 10th. Okay? So it's pretty straightforward, especially if you're in class. And that's how it works. Now on I want to see, I think these are both the same. So only do one of them for the extra credit. If you want to do an extra credit discussion, only do one. Don't do both of them because they're both the same. The assignment due Sunday, we have blast off. We'll talk about this Thursday, and the assignment on Sunday, the second assignment, we'll also talk about Thursday. We might get started on the blast off today, or the building blocks. We might get started on that today. But we'll definitely nail out both of them on Thursday. Okay. So today's we're going to talk about launching your UAT space program HTML document tags. Okay. So now back to my slides. So the dry stuff. Lectures, very hands-on. Please try to be here. I'm recording them, so if you're not here, still try to be here. But if you're not, that's okay. All you need to post for the Friday discussion is basically that you were here in class today. And if you post that you were here in class today, I'll give you full credit. Say September 9th and give your local time. So whatever it is in your local time zone. Okay? And as long as you do that, you're good to go. In fact, that's what I'm going to do real quick. I'm going to record it so I know all the people who were here. Okay. Good deal. All right. So that's all you need to post. It's just the date and the time. Okay. Now, late policy. Basically, we don't have, if it's a day late or 2 days late, it's not a big deal. We'll work with it because there's a lot of stuff coming in. But keep in mind, it gets pretty crazy, okay? So you don't want to be too late because I'll only accept things 2 weeks past the due date. So like stuff due Friday, I'll only accept up to Friday of week 3. Okay, so it moves fast. You get behind pretty quick. So try to keep up with the assignments. But if they're a day or 2 or 3 days late, it's not a big deal. Just get them in when you can. But obviously, don't get them in more than 2 weeks late because I can't accept them. That's a online class policy. That's not a me thing. Okay. And this 2 week post due date does not extend past the end of the semester. If you need stuff to go past the end of the semester, you need to do an incomplete. Okay. So it's early to be worrying about incompletes now. But if you need an incomplete, talk to your student advisor and they can work with you on getting an incomplete. Okay. Excellent. Excellent. Good. All right. So how are we going to do coding? We're going to use Visual Studio Code, not Visual Studio, but Visual Studio Code. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and close this folder. Okay. So we're going to use Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code has the blue ribbon. Visual Studio has purple. Visual Studio Code has blue. So it has the blue ribbon here. Now, when you get Visual Studio Code, one thing you want to add is what's called Live Server. So basically, you load it from Microsoft, you install it, and after you install it, then you go down to this bottom part called Extensions. And you click on Extensions, and you click Live Server. Okay, so you search for Live Server, and when you do, this one will come up by Ritwick Day, and you install it. So basically, you install it, and here I'll show you how to install it. So let's say, right now I don't have anything installed. I don't have anything going on, so I don't have anything installed. So I'm going to install Live Server. So I put Live Server. And when I do that, there's this Live Server by Ritwick Day. And if I do install, then it'll install it for me and we're good to go. That's the only extension you need to have. You don't need to have any other extensions besides Live Server. Okay. After you do Live Server, I'm gonna set a folder for this class. So I'll go ahead and create the folder first. So we have our online September class. I'm gonna create a folder. And I'm gonna call this folder class work. So it's work we're doing in class. Okay. And then what I do is I go File, I go Open Folder, and I go into wherever I am, which in this case, we're going to CSC102, we're going to do Online September, we're going to do Class Work, and there we go, we select a folder. So now we've got a folder, okay? Now, for this first assignment, we're going to need some stuff, okay? First of all, we're going to need some comments. Well, there's two different ways of doing comments. You can do it in HTML or JavaScript. Actually, why don't I save this? Yeah, I guess I'll do it. All right, so for HTML, if I do File, New File, this file, we want to call it index.html. So I do a save, and I save it as index.html. Okay, and that'll save our folder. Yeah, it should. I believe Live Server works on Mac because it's involved with Chrome. One other thing too, I don't know if it works with Opera or what's the other one that Mac uses? Safari. I don't know if it works with Safari, but you need to use Chrome, especially for the PWA. So you have to have Chrome installed on your server. I apologize for that, but right now with the way Google is, they already own half my life already, so I might as well give them the rest. Anyway, so we need to use Chrome, and it should be good. It should work on Mac. Okay, so let's make a comment in HTML. So to make a comment, you do a slash. Actually, before we do a comment, you should probably define your web page. Okay, define the file. So we use doc type to define it. So you do doc type, and it automatically defines it as an HTML because it saw that the name of the page is HTML, the extension. So because it accepted it as HTML, it said, okay, our document type is HTML. So you do that on the first line. On the second line, we want to make a comment. So you do a slash, you do an exclamation point, and a dash dash. And everything between these sets of dashes is going to be your comment. So this is a, and if I do it on another line, comment. Okay. So what it does is it puts everything in a comment. Everything between that line is a comment. Now, what is a comment? Well, it does nothing with the page. The compiler doesn't read it. The browser doesn't read it. What it's there for is it's there so you can, you can follow along if you want to. Yep. Okay. So I'll bring up the tab stuff later. Okay. So you can if you want to. You can follow along if you want to, but you don't necessarily have to. But I am doing stuff that you need to do for your assignment. So you can follow along if you want to, because I'll be doing direct assignment stuff. So this is how you plug in a comment. Now, there's another way to do a comment too. If you are in JavaScript, there's two different ways to do comments. Okay. You can do it in regular HTML, or you can do it in JavaScript. Now, JavaScript, you have to enclose it in these tabs called script tabs. Okay. So everything between these tabs, between the script and the slash script, is a little JavaScript window. Okay. And to do a JavaScript comment, you can do // and that'll create a one-line comment. A one-line comment. Okay. So that creates a one-line comment. If I go further down, it's no longer a comment. If you want a multi-line comment, you do a / and apostrophe. Oh, sorry, forgot my / apostrophe. And then you could say this is a multi-line comment. And you close with an apostrophe /. Apostrophe /. Okay. So everything between the / apostrophe and the apostrophe / is a comment. And all that comment does is it's notes. It allows you to keep notes in the file so that if you need to go back and fix it or change it or something like that, you can understand how you were thinking of this. They have a saying, an old saying, that you should comment as if the tester, or as if the person testing your application is a homicidal maniac that knows where you live. Basically, you don't want him to get super angry because he doesn't understand your code. So you leave comments to understand it. Another example is I worked for American Express for a while, and at American Express, there's code out there, and as part of the American Express code base, there's code that I wrote. Okay. Now the problem is I'm not at American Express anymore. So if my code breaks for some reason, if something I wrote breaks, someone else is going to have to figure out what I did to create that code. If I left good comments, which I did, if I left good comments, that's okay. It's not a big deal. They can fix it. If I left bad comments, it could take days, weeks. Heck, it could be something where they just got to redo the section because they don't understand what I was doing. Comments are super important. You really got to leave comments just to say, hey, this is why I was thinking this way. This is what I thought about. And it's not only for other people, it's for yourself too. I have code that might be 10, 12, 13 years old. If that code breaks, if I was asked, you got to fix this, and the code's 13 years old, if I didn't leave good comments, I would be really concerned because I don't remember what I did 13 years ago. I have a tough enough time remembering last week. 13 years ago is going to be a killer. I'm never going to catch up with that. What's that? Oh, asterisk. What did I call it? Oh, yeah, it's an asterisk, not an apostrophe. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's an asterisk. You're correct. It's a little asterisk. I definitely screwed it up. Thanks for pointing that out. Yep. So it's a little baby asterisk. Yeah, I should probably make this script bigger. I'll look into making it bigger for the next time, so you can see it a little better. Okay. So that's how to do comments. Now, the let me bring up my slides again. Now, we also have the script functions are encapsulated by script and then slash script. So anything in between these are script functions, okay, or script material. So let's go ahead and create one of those. So if I have this here, I have a script here, and that's fine. I'm going to create another script. So if I open this up, and this is JavaScript, okay. I like to bring them on a different line. You could, in theory, have all your page or have your whole page written in one line, as long as you don't have any one-line script comments. You could do it in one line, but that would be very difficult to fix, very difficult to debug, very difficult to understand what's going on. So what we do instead is we like to add carriage returns or return keys, and we like to add indentions. The computer itself doesn't read the indentions. It doesn't care if it's indented or not. But for us as people, it's easier to understand the code if we have these indentions. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to create an alert an alert function. Now, to create an alert function, you do alert, and then whatever you want to say on the alert windows, like I'm going to do a press me. And then because this is a function, you need a terminator. So you need a semicolon. Oh, not a colon. You need a semicolon at the end. Okay, so that tells the JavaScript, hey, I'm done with this line when you have a semicolon at the end. And basically what it's going to do is when we bring up this page, it's going to bring up an alert window and it's going to say press me on the alert window. So let's run it and see what it actually looks like. So if I click that, I do open in live server, and look, it says press me. And when you press it, then everything's okay. I have nothing else on the web page except for some comments, but you can't see the comments on the web page. If you want to know what the web page looks like, the actual source, you can do view page source, and it'll show you there's the one comment, there's the other comment, and there's the third comment. But that's just the source. The actual page, nothing appears. Okay. So the next thing we need is, yeah, it needs a body and a head tag. So we'll go ahead and fix that. Okay. So the next kind of stuff we need a little something else to fill in this web page. So the first thing I need a head and a body. Now for the head, we have a head script. Or it's actually a head section, and then we have a body section. Now the head section is where like the title goes and where all the stuff behind the scenes go in the head section. For the body section, oh yeah, you got to have your text in quotes. If you don't have it in quotes, then it views it as a variable. We can play with that in a little bit, but you want your head to contain the stuff behind the scenes, your body to contain the stuff in the main page. So for us, we'll put all this stuff in the body. So I'm going to do a Control X to cut it, and then Control V to paste. So now I put all this in the body, and in the head we don't have anything right now. So let's do something in our head. So let's do a title. Okay. And what the title will have is the title will be the title of our page. So I'm going to say CSC102 online week 1. Okay, so this is going to appear in the body. It's a CSC online week 1, and in the head, in the title for the head, and in the body itself, all it'll have is this alert. Now let's do a document write as well. Now what document write does is it's a JavaScript function, and it will print whatever you put inside the quotes. So if we do document write, this is a test of the document dot write function. Okay, so what it's going to do, and we need to terminate this, so we put a little semicolon on the end. Yeah, it does. Could another user on the home network? I don't know. I haven't messed around with that. It basically, we're just doing this on a local site. I didn't want to get all the implications. You probably can use your local IP within your local network. You can probably do that, but I just haven't focused on that. Okay, so looking at that, what this does is this will print on the screen. This is a test of the document.write function. Okay, so now let's go ahead and run this. Oh, what's it complaining about? Oh no, it's not complaining about anything. So I right click and I do open with live server. When I do that, press me. And look, we have an online week 1 in our title. We have this is a test of the document write function. Now, if you wanted to, you could make this a little more interesting. If you want to, you could create a variable. If we want to in our scripts, we do var, and then we'll do test print. What var does is it creates a variable, and this variable is going to be called test print. And what I'm going to set it equal to is this. Control X to delete or to cut, Control V to paste. And what it'll do is it'll put this is a test of the document write function into a variable called test print. And then down here, I can put test print. Okay, and I can use the test print variable. And it should do the same thing, but instead of it being all one thing, it'll divide it up. It'll separate it out. So if I do that now, go ahead and do a print, open a live server, you can click me, and it still works, which is fantastic. So the next thing we want to do is I want to add a button. Okay, and let's add a button after this, after the test print. So to do a button, you basically, it's an HTML. You do a button tag, and then whatever you want it to say on the button, you put between the button tags. So you do like, press me. Okay. And what it'll do is it'll create a button, and the button will say press me. Only I'm going to say press me too. So the button will be a little different from the other button. Okay. I'll go ahead and save it. If I do a right click, open live server, press me, and down here it says press me too. Now I don't have this button wired up to do anything. Later on we'll wire up buttons to do stuff, but right now it's just a button to press, and it tests the document write function. Now this having the both on the same line is kind of annoying. I want this button to be on a separate line. So the way we do that is through, oh, wait. We do a break. So what we do is we do a BR. Okay, and that creates a break. So it'll be a break. We'll do the document write function, and then it'll do a line, and then it'll do the press me too. So if we do this and we do this, press me, and look, we've got them on separate lines. Now, if I want to make this lower so it's really separate, I just put in a couple breaks instead of 1, 3, 4. And also, I'm tired of this alert coming up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to comment that out. Now, for your project, you have to have the alert in there. So don't comment out your alert. But because I'm just messing around, I'm going to comment out my alert. So I comment out the alert. If I run it, the alert doesn't show up anymore. And we've got a bunch of space between the press me to and the document write function. Okay, I'm going to kill some of these. Okay, so what else do we have to do? Okay, well, in this first assignment, we have to do all these. Okay, so first thing, doc type, we've got that done. So we're good with that. HTML tags, we've got those. Head tags, we've got head tags. We have body tags. Head tags, we've got title tags. We've got title text. We've got body tags. Now let's do some headers. We'll do some headers. We'll do some paragraphs. And then the rest of the stuff we got. So headers and paragraphs. Okay. So now headers you do in the body, and basically they're different styles of text. Okay. Now they're part of HTML. They're not JavaScript. They're part of HTML, and like there's different levels. So like H1, that's the biggest one. If I do that, I say this is H1 text. Okay. Now really, I'd rather do it like this so it looks nicer. It's easier to read this way, but you could have it on one line if you really wanted to. Okay. That creates H1 text. Now, how about H4 text? H4 is going to be much smaller and much less obtrusive, much less bold. Okay. These are different header texts. So H1 is bigger, H4 should be smaller. Okay. And finally, paragraph. Use paragraphs for when you want to write a whole bunch of text. Okay. It can be more than one line. It's all sorts of stuff. So for paragraphs, you do P, and then you just fill it. This is the paragraph tag. I use it for multiple sentences in the same paragraph. It should be small text. Okay, so what it'll do is it'll put all these lines together in small text. If I wanted to I just wanted to fill up, so it'd be a lot of stuff. Okay, so now let's go ahead and take a look at what this looks like. Okay, now if I make this smaller, you see how that makes it as like a paragraph. Okay, this is the H1 text, that's a large text. H4 is the smaller text, that's not as bold. H2 and H3 are in between. H2 is bolder than H3. H3 is bolder and bigger than H4. Okay, so they just kind of cycle down. And then here's the button. Now, what if we want to add a picture? If we look at our assignment, I'll go ahead and bring the assignment up. Okay, if we look at our assignment, I'll go ahead and bring the assignment up. One thing they have is we want to build a picture of what the finished assignment should look like. Okay, so what we want this is probably going to be H1. We need this picture. We need this to be H1. We need test and document right, test paragraph tags, start and stop. Now this picture is down here. Okay, so all you need to do is click it to download it, and then you save it to whatever directory you want to save it as. I'm going to do it in my UAT, in my assignment directory. And we do on CSC102, we want online September. I'll go ahead and do this in the classwork, and I'll do save. So it'll save it in that classwork. Now, if we look at our thing, you can see this UAT space logo is right here. Okay, so we've got a UAT space logo. Now to put in the button, or to put in the UAT space, what we use is we use image source. So we do img src and then in in the quotes you put the name of your space logo, and then you close it out. Okay, you don't need a closing tag for that. And then what this will do is this will put UAT space in the top of the page. Now down here we're going to want to do what does it say in the assignment? It says it wants UAT space program, so we'll change this to UAT space program. Okay, and then further down we want UAT space program, test the document right, test to the paragraph. So this one will be UAT space program. Okay, and then we want our document right, so we put that next. So we do UAT space. We do test of the document right. And then we can also do an alert because it needs that alert in it. We don't need the H4 text, so we don't have to have the H4 text. And as long as you access it, you need to put in where it's located at. It's better to put it in the directory that you're working from, so then you can just bring it up. You could save it somewhere else and access it, but it's much easier to put it in this directory. Okay, Brandon, does that kind of make sense? All right. Other stuff we need. So the test paragraph tags. We need test of the paragraph tags, and then we need start and stop. So this is a test of the paragraph tag. Don't need all this other stuff. Okay, and then you need start and stop. So one will say start, and the other one will say stop. I'm going to let you work out that stuff. Okay, so if we run it, press me, UAT space program, document right, paragraph tag. I'll leave the stop button for you to put in. I got to leave something fun for you. Okay. So are we pretty good on this stuff? Are we good on the first assignment? Does anyone have any questions? Any other questions? Cool. Good deal. Well, let's.
Yes. Will we get instructions?
Instructions for what?
On the assignment, even though you just gave it to us, or will we get like a written instruction or anything like that?
No, because I did it in front of you.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, absolutely. You will have this recording. I am recording this. Let me make sure. I am recording this, so you can access the recording. It should look pretty close, Turnin. It should be pretty close. Yeah. We don't. This is college, so we tend not to give out written instructions, and we really like to save stuff for you guys to figure out as well. Okay, so
Okay.
that's yep, cool, good. So, but with this being CSC102, which is a first semester programming class, I do spell things out for you. So I'm not going to super hide stuff or anything like that. I want you to learn. I don't want you to. It's for file names. Well, I'm using Windows, so I just do the file name, the file names. I don't know what exactly you're asking, Daniel. I'm not quite sure.
So a lot of times when I've done scripting in the past, I've run into issues running that script with different interpreters.
Yeah.
I haven't done a lot of HTML, but I know that in some interpreters, the dash does not go over well. And I've had to go back and replace them with underscores and change all my file names and all that stuff.
I haven't had a problem because this is straightforward. It's only the first, it's a straightforward class, so we're not super tricky. The one thing I wouldn't do is spaces. I don't think I've got a space in here. Spaces I would avoid. Dashes are okay, I think, or at least in my stuff it's been okay. I've never had to do it, but if you want to change it to an underscore or something like that, you can definitely do that. It might be tricky, yeah. It might be tricky with some of the other stuff, but we're doing a very basic first semester programming class, so everything should work out pretty good. So, but it's a good point, Daniel. Thanks for bringing it up. Okay. So, what I want to do, let me. So we should have everything for this assignment. So you should have everything good. All you need to do is turn in your HTML, add a comment at the top with your name. So make sure your name's on a comment in there. Okay. And that's it for the first assignment. Now for the next assignment, the next assignment is the yeah, we can save that for the. Yeah, I guess we've got blast off and we've got space functions. Okay. So what I'll do, basically what we're going to do is we're going to set it so it'll do a countdown for us. When we click the start button, it'll start a countdown for us, and it'll count from 10 to 0. And when it says 0, it'll print out a message called, they'll say blast off. Okay. Now we don't want to use an alert message. We want to print to the screen. The way I'm going to do it, the way it recommends is to use the display, is to create a display countdown element and do the inner HTML and set it to whatever the countdown number is. We'll set it to 10, and then we'll decrement it by 1 every second, and we'll get it to 0. Add 0, it'll print blast off. We need a creative element, an image like we did before, a nice look and feel for the user, comment on every line of code, and put a comment at the top with the HTML and your name on it. What I'm going to do, because this only runs till 6:50, I'll go ahead and open up for questions. And if you don't have questions, we'll go ahead and start on this on Thursday. Okay, and we'll do it on Thursday, and then we'll also do the second one, which maybe I can go through assignments and bring it up. We'll go through the functions one. Okay, and with the functions one, it's pretty straightforward. We create a function, and the function does this, and then you make it fun. So we'll go ahead and we'll talk on both of these on Thursday and get them both out so you'll be ready to go by Sunday. Okay. Yeah, and go ahead and try it. That's an excellent idea, Eric. Go ahead and try it and see what happens. And give it a try, and then Thursday I'll come in and if you have problems, we'll solve those problems. That's a great idea, Eric. To kind of go in and try them. And if you run into problems, at least you know how the problem is going to be, and we can work on it. Okay? Sounds good. Okay. So I'd like everyone to have a good evening. Is there any questions before I end this, before I turn off the recording? Is there any questions that you guys have? Oh, yes.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
I got one question.
Okay.
I watched a video, I think it was in the Canvas, one of them, and it was saying I was the one that was talked about the exclamation point tab function, and it brings up, I guess, like a whole kind of similar to what you did. I was just wondering if you could like say a little bit of something about that. Like, is there any differences or?
No, the exclamation point tab, it should be on here, right? I don't use it a lot, but if I wanted to, what it does is it comes up with all the introductory stuff, meaning all the stuff that you want on the beginning of your what it does is it's better to do it if we start a new file. Like let's say I got a new file and I want to save this as I'll save it as index2. .html. Okay. Now this index2 is completely blank. There's nothing in it. If I do an exclamation point tab, what it'll do is it'll give me the basic fill out for our page, meaning it sets the language, it does the character sets and all this. This isn't stuff you necessarily need, but if you want a shortcut, you can do an exclamation point and a tab, and it'll fill all this stuff in for you. And then you change your document name to whatever you want the document to be. You fill in your body stuff here. Now the problem is I guess it does set. I like to have everything inside the HTML. I want the HTML at the first level, everything a level below it. But besides that, it works fine too. All it basically is it's a shortcut. It's a shortcut way to do that, and it works great. If you want to do it, it's no big deal. It's the same as typing it. You don't have to have these meta stuff if you don't want to. If you want to, you can. And like the language, if you want to have the language setting, you can, but you don't have to. For our web page, because it's very straightforward, you don't need it. But if you want to have it, that's fantastic. Does that kind of answer your question, Eric? It's the same thing, but with less typing. Just
like a template. Thank you. That did answer my question.
Yeah, good. Yeah. Yes, a template is exactly the way it is. It's a template. It gives you something to start off at, and it works great. To be honest with you, I don't do a lot of HTML coding in my real world. I'm a robotics guy, robotics and embedded systems, so I don't use it a lot. I don't start off with a lot of fresh pages. But for those guys who do, who live in the world, I'm sure that they all use that. Absolutely. Good deal. Are there any other questions?
Just one.
Okay.
I noticed on the assignment that the example doesn't really include any header text, just the title text and the document right and paragraph.
Well, there is one set of header text. Here, I'll go back to it because I didn't focus on it. It is, let me bring it up. The this UAT space program is probably an H1. You see how it's bigger than the other ones?
Yeah, I saw that. So the title text never really actually appears.
It does at the top of the page, UAT space program.
Oh, I see on the tab. Okay.
Yes,
Okay,
yep.
Perfect.
The title, and you'll see here on my tabs, they do.
Okay, great.
So yeah, and that's I can understand it being a little confusing, the difference between header and head. Head is the stuff behind the scenes on a web page, like title is in the head. Header is body text that is of a specific size. Well, it's not just size, specific size and specific boldness. Like H1 is bold and a larger size, whereas H4 is not bold at all and it's very small. Good deal. So do we have any other questions? Okay, I'm going to take a picture of the people here real quick. Just so when you bring up the Friday thing, you can say, hey, I was here and not have to worry about it. Good deal. And let's go ahead and call it good for this evening. Have a good evening, and we'll see everyone on Thursday. Thank you very much for